different circumstances, depending on, you know, whether you have been ill and you've taken antibiotics. It shifts that whole that internal milieu is the word, I suppose, but that internal gut environment, and it can shift it into such a way that you know, disease patterns can start to show up, but they will show up in symptoms, etc. So it's only when we start to address those and any of the inflammation that's caused by that and dialing it back. This is why for either myself or for Olivia, when working with clients, that we look so closely at the diet, because you want to see, is it a food that's eaten so frequently that somebody would automatically assume was okay because they've been eating it for a lifetime? Is it actually that that's causing the issue because it's repeatable? You know, if it's 3 times a day that that food is coming in, it means that there's 3 times a day that there's an opportunity for whatever component of that food to injure the gut wall, to then allow some bacteria or whatever it happens to be to leak through. So you see, we're constantly thinking, it's almost like a forensic detective. We're constantly looking that little bit deeper, that little bit, you know, more in detail to see, no, there's a reason for this showing up in the signs and symptoms, but we need to look and start to clear. That's why I talk about the roots of the trees, etc., but be clearing the terrain around that, the environment. So getting that right, you need to take a good look at it and clear up that environment to help that gut to heal and allow the walls of the gut to heal. And you do that by balancing your blood sugars, you know, and by getting good sleep, and by making sure that things are moving through the system in terms of detoxifying, so that there isn't a chance for, you know, old hormones to build up, or for a leaky gut pattern to start to manifest. You know, I don't even like the terminology. I suppose it's actually increased intestinal permeability, but it's where those, I mentioned before, those cells kind of move apart slightly, and it can be any number of different, it's not always food components that this happens with. Like it obviously can be with, like, if there's a parasite there or something else that's going on that's triggering it all the time. But this is where I'm like also of a positive mindset when I say to people that from meal to meal you can change things. That's how simplistic it can boil down to, because at a minimum most people are eating 3 times a day, so that's 21 opportunities within the week to basically address what's going to have an impact on that gut wall. So as the food comes through on any given time, or the fluids come through, they're having that impact on the gut wall. And when you're aware of that, then you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, am I going to do injury to the gut wall, or am I going to do something that's going to soothe it? Am I going to put in the beneficial foods and the beneficial nutrients that are going to help? And when I come to that, actually that point on nutrients, I see there's a question here on multivitamins and superfood mixes. They absolutely have their role, but the thing is, it's food first. To look at food first. But if there is an issue with digestive processes, if somebody doesn't have strong enough digestive capacity to break down the food to then have that food properly absorbed, that's when nutrients can start to be depleted. And it can take, you know, it can be a short time for something that might be a water soluble vitamin, but longer time for fat soluble or for minerals and things like that. It takes a little bit longer of time for that to actually start to deplete, and it mightn't show up for quite a while.